Yeah, so it was February 2014, we undertook a $21 million upgrade at the Fairfax Media Print site in Wellington. And it really consisted of four main components, which was the building works, health and safety, press, and publishing. So the building works involved raising the roof by 12 metres, another 4 metres higher, putting in a concrete table to support that press, upgrading the main transformers from two 500 kVA to two 750 kVA transformers. And the health and safety, well, we had over 50 containers of 40-foot containers arrive on site, plus the press. So we had to ensure we had a traffic management plan around deliveries to ensure that when there was crane movements, forklifts and trucks, that we didn't have any accidents, and we went through the whole project without an accident. We also installed temporary walls internally and put in temporary lighting, temporary stairwells to separate construction from operations. So that was the key, is to keep those two apart from each other, constantly sending out daily notices to staff on upgrades, any crane lifts, any heavy movements, doing hazard event identifications regularly, so the staff always knew what was going on. The other side of the building, we put steel gates in and gave that to the building contractors, so that was their own area. No staff, no trucks could go in there, and it was just trying to keep that separation as we went. So you can see here, this is where we started raising that roof by 4 metres. So the right-hand side of that building is the existing press hall that we were running, and the left-hand side where that crane is. Now that crane actually was dropped through the roof into the bottom of our paper store. So they controlled it from the paper store. So part of the paper store also had to be shut down and segregated away. So one of the key components with the building works was that we needed to have the press hall ready for installation by September 2014. So in May, we only got resource consent. So to pick a construction company that could undertake this work was quite a challenge. So we went to the market, and in the end we chose Fletcher's Construction. As everyone knows, Fletcher Construction New Zealand, they're probably reputation second to none, but it was their methodology. So what they did is they put a mezzanine floor on the top. They had a crew doing the steel work, raising the roof, and then below another mezzanine floor, and they started doing the press tables. So 2 jobs simultaneously, and they actually handed over the press hall to us in September 2014. So it was, and you'll see some of the photos, you'll see what was involved. So this is where the press was to be installed. This is the first floor. This used to be stores, some workshops downstairs, and we had roller stores, offices, and there was air conditioning units and that in there. So when Bob Lockley rang me, and it was about the end of January, and said, "It's all go, get the hammer out." Well, literally we did, and in-house we stripped all those workshops out, that top floor. We did all the demolition in-house. So that's the first floor where the units were to sit on. Now this machine here, now I'm not sure what the correct terminology of this, but Fletcher's called it a muncher. And what they did is they cut the concrete floor either side, they put a cut either side, and this machine came in. I'm not sure the tonnage pressure that's got on those jaws, but it actually just snapped away at the concrete, reinforcing, and it took that whole floor out in one day. So once the floor was taken out, that's the bit that was taken out, that's the top floor, ready for the table, and then on the ground floor is the reel deck level. Now you can see the reel stand pits here, they were existing because the site was always built with the provision to allow another press to be installed. So all the press bed and foundations below were there already. So where the reel stand pits are, that just had shingle polystyrene, and so it was just a matter of breaking the top concrete layer off, digging all the shingle out, and then the pits were already there, just needed to be formed. This press was non-load bearing, so the Goss press was load bearing, so the press sat on top of the reel stands. This is different. units sit on top of the concrete floor, the reel stands are non-load bearing, so we had to put a table on the first floor. So you can see the columns are starting to be formed there. And you can see on the top there, there's a mezzanine floor, so there's another crew working up on the top doing the roof works. At the same time, these guys are forming and constructing the concrete table to hold the press. So on that first floor, just across that table was 24 tonnes of reinforced steel and 100 cubic metres of concrete. That's the finished job that Fletchers had done. So you can see there's a concrete column supporting the table. You can see the holes in the floor where the units sit on, and you can see the reel stand pits. And on the right-hand side there, you'll see the plywood there. That's part of the temporary walls to separate construction from operations. But while this was happening, our paper store's on the left-hand side of that photo, and yet our operations on the right-hand side. The only way we could get reels through was during the middle of the night. So we had Fletchers build temporary walkways and put gates through, and they did that at the end of their day. We'd go in at night, bring all our reels in, we'd load every reel stand, we even had reels in the lobby, and then shut the doors, construction went again, and then back at night moving reels. But that was the only way we could run. So a lot of planning involved, working out what grammage paper we needed, how much paper we needed. And you can see there, that's the extension on the top. That's the 4 metre extension to fit this press. So there's the press hall, ready for the press to come in. So right at the end there, this is on the first floor. We cut a hole at the end of the wall there, and we've used this portal crane to lift the units in and out. Now, there's only one company in New Zealand that has this facility, a company called Machinery Movers. So we used them. Because we were extending the roof, trying to build a press table, we couldn't lift through the roof. We didn't have time. But this actually worked out really well, and you'll see a video at the end of how it actually works. So what we did there is we lift the unit up onto the first floor, onto that platform. That platform it's basically a massive big trolley. It sits on the trolley. We pushed it through the hole in the wall. We had about 50 mil clearance from the concrete cutout to the top of the unit, pushed it in there, and then the portal crane picked it up, moved it across, put it in its place, and then back and forth, building the press like that. There's the reel deck down below. There's the reel stands and all the pipe work on the left-hand side. And there's the press installed. So the press, we started lifting in end of September, early October. We got the press in. The first commission run we did on the press was mid-April this year. We went into production end of April, and then early May we were running on 2 folders. We started 1 folder, then 2 folders at the end. So the press is a Geoman, double width, 4 towers, 2 folders. We've got QI, automatic registration, automatic cut-off on it, and the folder at the end, folder B, MAN have put modifications on the folder to allow us to print different size web widths, so we can produce different products. It gives the site the ability to do square tabs, stitch and trim. We've got stitching on both folders as well, online stitching. That is our old mailroom, our old Ferrig mailroom. So May 2014, we started to take the old mailroom out, but we had to install the new one in the same room. That was a challenge. So here's the MSD drum that we're craning in through the building. So what we installed in our publishing room is a MSD inserting drum, a 4-station roll stream, 4 stackers, production lines. We've got 2 double winding machines, which allows us to wind products simultaneously off both folders, 2 unwinders into the drum, and a home product unwinder. Also have trimming drum online. We have polybagging, automated online polybagger that has a maximum speed of 30,000 copies an hour, and also have an option there to quarter fold the product out the door, quarter folded or quarter fold, bag and out as well. So what we had to do here is we had to take probably 30% of our existing mailroom system out to start installing a base system. So you can see in this photo here, that's the inserting drum being put between two production lines. So we took one line out, and then there's a TTR track that runs up over top. You might not be able to see it in the photo very well, but it's just above that orange ducting. So that was redirected so we could run our existing production up over the top to the next stacker. You could see all the blue equipment is the existing, so we were running that while we're putting in a new system. So the silver is the new, the blue's the old. So that's the lay-down tracks and belting system that runs to the stackers. You can see there, we had temporary conveyors to take copies away to get it back out to the dockway while we're still doing an installation. And there's the inserting drum with the roll stream. So September 2014, we switched over to the inserting drum, the roll stream. We had one winding machine, one unwinder and two stackers, and we connected that up to our old press, and then we removed the rest of the old equipment and started finishing off the install. See, that's a picture of the polybagger. That's the winding and unwinding. So what we've done here is we've positioned this winding and unwinding so that any movements from those Stocklins, which are little forklifts, are segregated from the staff so that there's no traffic or movement across the publishing room. So operators are working on the other side of the publishing room. Better layout than what we used to have. Now this is called a base isolator. So the whole site was built with base isolation, which is for earthquake proofing. So how it works is that the floor is poured with a concrete slab, and then they have columns, and in between each column is that base isolator, which is made up of rubber and lead. Then on top of that is all the beams, and then on top of the beams is a concrete floor. Now that's where the real dig starts. So the base isolator is also the load points for the press as well. So in an earthquake, they act like dampeners, shock absorbers. So that's our old press. So part of having base isolation, you need to brace your printing press back to your building as well, because in the event of an earthquake, if the building starts to move, which accentuates it on the base isolators, if it moves, you need your press to move with it. Otherwise, if your building goes that way, starts coming back, and your press doesn't come back at the same time, it would snap all your fixators at the bottom and put the whole press out of alignment. So that's why we brace the press to the back wall and to the side wall, so the whole building and press moves together. So there's the old press that's braced back to that wall, and on the side, it's braced to the centre of the building through the steel structures. So when we put the Geoman press in, there is no real standard around bracing printing presses for earthquake. So I had a structural engineer in, and he said, well, what standard do we use? I said, well, that's been in there for over 20 years and it's never gone out of alignment, so let's do the same. And that's what we did. So if you have a look here, we've braced the side of the press to that beam again, and we've also braced steel back to the side of the building. I've just got a little video here. Hopefully our man down the back will get the sound running, and it should show you a bit of an overview of exactly how it's worked. See if it goes. No? Do you want to play that? The other video then? Oh, isn't it? No sound? Is it actually playing? Okay. But anyway, you get an idea of what we've been doing. So what we're doing now is we're starting to decommission the old printing press and take that out. We still have quiet rooms that are built in temporary locations. We don't have any workshops or proper storage, so as soon as the old press is out, we start stage 2 building works. We can relocate our quality desks, build our quiet rooms, stores, washrooms and roller storage and workshops. So that's the next stage. So we expect to be finished early next year, which will end up being a 2-year project. That's all I've got today.